Well, I'm now joined by Robin Marshall, the Director of Smith Williamson Investment Management. It is a fascinating time. It's very difficult to work out what's going to happen next. More difficult, I suppose, today than we thought it was yesterday. But you say that really whatever happens, it's the bond market that's going to rule the UK in the short and medium term.
Yeah, well, I think that sets the parameters, Andrea, on the timing of this. They can't delay with this indefinitely. I mean, despite this rather absurd conditional resignation from the Prime Minister, which apparently is going to take 4 months till September. It won't wait 4 months. It will want some sort of resolution in the next day or two. And then we come on to the type of resolution we get, which will be the second issue.
In a way, actually, the spotlight's been taken off the UK because of what happened with that European bailout. And yesterday we saw stocks going up everywhere.
Yes.
But that's really, that's a little bit false, isn't it? Because probably today, tomorrow, people are going to start looking at sterling and looking at the bond market in the UK.
Yes, I think that's right. I mean, actually, the timing was, they were quite lucky in a way that we had a Eurozone crisis blow up. So it does give them a little bit of time. But clearly, as you said earlier in the intro, the whole process has become more complex now with this last-minute sort of Labour grab for power, if you like, with this complex coalition. So I think the real concern would be fiscal gridlock resulting from an unstable coalition.
Exactly.
And actually, even if we get Lib Dem Tories, if people feel that Cameron has paid a price that's too high in PR terms and that we're condemned to minority governments for a long time ahead, I don't think that will go down all that well either. So this is the problem.
Indeed, I mean, if you just look now at the kind of power that this small group that got 23% of the popular vote are able to exert, it must worry the markets that this is exactly that the policies that the Liberal Democrats had before the election, which lots of analysts and observers said didn't stand up to very much analysis. Well, those are now the policies that may end up being implemented.
Yes, well, exactly. And of course, the unfashionable view is that the system does require reform, but it requires reform to make it fairer to the Conservatives rather than Labour, because of course we now have a system where Labour can get clear majorities with relatively low percentage of the popular vote, because of course Blair got 36% in 05 and then a 60-seat majority. The Tories have got 36% and are in minority.
Indeed.
So that's the problem. The system doesn't, I don't think the system, first past the post is working properly now unless the boundaries are redrawn. And if we go to PR, it may be difficult to deliver the type of strong fiscal action that's required.
Let's look at the market reaction to a Lib-Lab Pact. That looks like it may happen. Even that isn't enough. It's all very complicated, but what it means is that there would be a relatively unstable coalition in place that may not last long. Is that the market's worst fear, that we'll end up with stagnation for 6 months and then another election? Yeah,
I think that's seen as the worst, as the inferior outcome relative to a Tory Lib Dem coalition. And if the Tory Lib Dem coalition doesn't have too high a price paid on PR and is seen to be stable and committed to fiscal action, then that will be reasonably well received.
Yes.
If we go to an unstable coalition that would only drag on till the autumn, obviously it's unlikely to last much beyond a Queen's speech, I would have thought. So it will collapse in the autumn, then we'll have another election, and then there'll be all this speculation about electoral reform again, and more delay to fiscal resolution.
Ken Clarke's prediction of the IMF coming in the hung Parliament.
Yeah, they don't work well here, these hung parliaments, and I'm sure we need to get back to first past the post and clearer fiscal action.
Robin Marshall, thank you very much
Pleasure.
indeed.